Well, hello there, nice to see you. My name is Ben Brill, and in this video I'm going to explain what is a Loog guitar. Who is this guitar for? The basics of the instrument, what makes this unique from other guitars and instruments. And we'll talk very briefly just about quality. At the very end, I'll explain how to use a discount code that Loog gave me. They're very generous to use with my students and subscribers. Alright, so big picture, the main difference between this guitar and another kid's size guitar is that it only has 3 strings. Now, people on the internet have some pretty strong opinions about whether these guitars are good or not. There are teachers who do really well teaching very young kids how to play 6-string guitar. For me personally, the kids that I get started on a Loog guitar really enjoy it. They play a lot and they have much less barrier to getting started and enjoying their instrument. The smallest Loog available on the website is called the Loog Mini here. This says it's for ages 3 and up. My youngest student is 4.5 and is loving it. The one that I'm playing now, the Loog Pro, is designed for 8 and up. Next point is instrument basics. Let's bring up an actual 6-string guitar to give you some contrast here. So the first thing you'll notice here is that this guitar, has 6 strings, and what the Loog basically does is deletes these 3 strings towards the ceiling. These are the lowest sounding and thickest strings. What I like about this, there's 2 main things. The first one is that with this guitar, there's nothing with out of reach. The frets are a bit closer together, so they don't have to have any big stretches. Again, for contrast, here's like a larger chord on this half-size guitar. Now for me, this is no problem, but for a young hand, this could be a bit of a stretch. Now years ago, when I worked with young students, I started teaching partial chords. This means that instead of playing a G chord, which has 3 different far apart places to press down, I would treat a G chord like this and have them only play the top 4 or 3 strings. Sounds pretty nice. But the problem with this that I've struggled with for a long time, and a lot of other people were trying to figure this out too, was that usually it takes a lot of coordination to be able to play just those strings, and usually the songs would sound like this. Not terrible, but I actually don't want these strings to be played. In fact, at one point I used hair ties to wrap up these strings so they wouldn't ring. But then, Loog guitar came out, and now my D chord, I don't have any extra strings down here that are going to get in the way of me getting a nice clean sound. Is the sound a little bit different? Of course. You don't have some of the lower notes that guitars are known for. Here's the chord progression on full guitar. And here's the equivalent on a Loog. Now years ago, before I was aware of Loog guitars, whenever a student really wanted to learn guitar but they were too young to really have a good grasp, I would start them on an ukulele. And I've actually had kids start on the ukulele and then switch to guitar when they're old enough. One problem with this is that even though a lot of the chord shapes are the same, like if I learn to play this on an ukulele, I can play the same shape on a guitar and it's going to sound good. But on the uk, this is called a G chord, and on the guitar, it's called a D. We actually can take any chord we can play on this and translate it to a guitar chord by counting up 5 notes in the musical alphabet. Now that takes a while to explain to a kid, and it's just an extra step to getting into guitar. Loog eliminates that, because if I play a D chord on the Loog, it's the same as a D chord on the guitar. If I play a G chord on the Loog, we can play this in guitar and it would sound good, but later on, once kids are old enough, they'll be able to take this original chord and they'll be able to add those other fingers. Another thing that I like about Loog guitar, if the student wants to ultimately play a 6-string guitar, is that any notes that they learn, for example, like if their teacher helps them to learn treble clef, it would be the exact same thing on a 6-string guitar. Now I've got another video that specifically talks about the quality of these instruments and what I like and don't like about them. But for the big picture, this is a well-made instrument. It's a good manufacturing process, and it's not a toy. Even though it's for young kids, it's designed to actually sound good and feel good to play. For contrast, if you go to a department store and you see like a kid's guitar in a box and the guitar is 20 or 30 bucks, if you buy that guitar and bring it home, The kid might like making just some noise with it, but it's not going to sound good. It's going to be hard to play. Finally, onto the discount code. If this works for you, that's great. If it doesn't work, you're still getting a good deal just by getting this quality instrument. You just go down to the video description, you click on that, and you'll see the information on how to use that for currently 10% off, which is pretty sweet. And so, awesome job. Be sure to click subscribe so that you see future videos that come out that I'm making here. I've actually got a whole series already made of Loog guitar lessons that kids can use to learn their first songs, and also more videos for the parent or adult on how to choose Loog guitars and get them set up really well. So, my name is Ben Brill. Have an awesome day. Hope to see you in a future video.